Bam beat Sonny, the whole talk in boxing has been about Bam fighting, the guy that everyone talks about whenever you speak about fights below featherweight, whenever you talk about anybody's big fight below featherweight in boxing, the money man around these weights is the monster, Yokohama's very own, the Yokohama Terror himself, Naoya Inoue. Now, Chris Mannix, shout out to Chris Mannix, veteran in the damn media game, the zone commentator. He tweeted this after the fight. He said the following, and I quote, "The big fight everyone at Matchroom was talking about is Bam Rodriguez versus Naoya Inoue. If Bam can beat Juan Francisco Estrada, and I expect that fight in early 2024, and if Inoue stays at 122, look for a push to make Inoue versus Bam at the end of the year." So let's talk about that for a second, because this is a fight that, I'll be honest with you guys, I've talked to and I've interviewed so many fighters in boxing about fighting Naoya Inoue. Pretty much, guys, whenever I interview anybody who's like a 122 pounder or 126 pounder, I always ask them about Inoue. Like, I've asked Angelia about fighting Inoue. I've asked Odebek Kotal about fighting Inoue. I asked Ruben Villa's coach, Sam Garcia, about fighting Inoue. I interviewed, who else did I talk about? Shushu Carrington. I mean, that's the protocol when I interview fighters at featherweight and 122, right? So now, let's throw Bam's name in the mix. Now, people may say, BT, True School, this fight is unrealistic because Bam is a small fighter. Bam doesn't fight at 122. How could you say, how can we even ponder this, right? And I want to show you guys something, because I think something people don't realize about Bam is that Bam, when he's not in camp for fights and he's not like, cutting weight, he's not big as far as height, but he's big as far as, he has a good frame on him. He could fight at Bam could fight at 118 easily. He could fight at 122 easily. In fact, to illustrate my point, I want to show you guys, if you guys can see right here, this fight right here in 2017, he fought a Mexican fighter named Jorge Mosqueria. And you can see that Bam weighed in that fight at 126 3/4 pounds. So Bam essentially fought above the featherweight limit. He was basically a super featherweight. He fought at super featherweight, albeit it was only one time. He still did it. So listen, if he did it once, he could do it again. So I don't question the fact that Bam could fight Naoya Inoue. Now, be a real intriguing fight, because when it comes to the subject of Naoya Inoue and what he brings to the table, I feel like Inoue has the boxing skills to outbox a lot of the power punchers, but then he's also explosive enough to knock out the boxers, right? So a guy that's going to beat him has to have a little bit of both. He has to be the best of both worlds. And I think Bam Rodriguez does have the best of both worlds. Bam punches really hard for the weight. Bam Rodriguez has good footwork. Bam Rodriguez has fought high-level fighters, so he's got good experience. Bam Rodriguez has a world-class trainer in his corner in Robert Garcia. I mean, he ticks all the boxes of someone that could give Inoue a really good fight. And I wouldn't mind it. I feel like when you talk about featherweight on down, these are two of the best fighters you have to offer. When you talk about from 105 on up, they're definitely two of the top. Yeah, I think you have Inoue as the top guy, and Bam is definitely in the top three with what he's doing right now. So you got to, give a lot of respect to Bam. I think Bam has done a great job of putting himself in position to maybe get that fight. And I'm gonna tell you guys this, because I was talking to one of my friends in Japan yesterday, from Japan, my boy Kai Zama. Shout out to my boy Kai Zama, the former Japanese professional fighter. I think he had like 16 or 17 pro fights. He actually boxed. Like he's from Japan. He boxed at Korakuen Hall. Me and him are talking about actually doing some stuff in the boxing world together. So shout out, stay tuned for that. Kai Zama. But he was actually putting me on game yesterday on the phone. He was telling me about how the infrastructure of Japanese boxing works. And he brought to my attention that basically, if you're a Japanese fighter, it doesn't matter which gym you train out of, because in Japan, it's different than the USA. Like, your gym is a promotional company. Your gym is your promoter. But no matter what gym you train out of, and no matter, who's promoting you, if you're a Japanese fighter and you have any ambitions of fighting abroad, from what I was told, no matter what gym you train out of, you have to go through Mr. Honda and Tekken Promotions. Mr. Honda has Japanese boxing, and the fighters dreams of fighting abroad, he has that in a Cobra Clutch. You got to go through him. So when I think about the fact that Bam Rodriguez is already signed to Tekken Promotions, and I think about the fact that Naoya Inoue has a working relationship with Mr. Honda and Tekken Promotions, that to me makes this fight extremely realistic. Because I'll say it like this: if Bam fights Guile and beats him, if Mr. Honda wants the fight with Inoue and Bam to happen, it's going to happen. And how do I know that? Because Mr. Honda doesn't want Roman Gonzalez to fight Bam. And guess what? Roman Gonzalez and Bam are not going to fight each other, which I'll get to later on in the live. So I think someone needs to ask Mr. Honda what he thinks about this fight. If someone could figure out what the hell Mr. Honda thinks about Bam versus Inoue and get some quotes from him on that, that'll let you know everything right there. Because if he wants that fight to happen, bet your bottom dollar it's going to happen. And it'd be a really good fight. I think Bam, too, he rehydrates. Like, he does rehydrate pretty high in weight. So I feel like, him fighting Naoya Inoue isn't as far-fetched as you guys think. And believe it or not, he might actually wind up being the bigger man in the ring because, like I told you guys, he's not tall, but he's wide. And I think Naoya Inoue, that would be a fight. A lot of times people say Naoya Inoue, he's just a knockout artist. I've seen this new narrative floating around about Naoya Inoue that he's only this knockout artist. He's more punching power than he is skill. Like I heard, like Rick Glazer came on here and said that like a month ago. Ismail Salah said that when I was interviewing him about Robeisy Ramirez fighting Inoue before Robeisy lost to Espinoza. And it's crazy because Inoue is so good at knocking people out as the precision puncher he is that his boxing skills are getting slept on. And we saw in the Stephen Fulton fight, he could outbox the boxers, all right? We've seen it many times in his career. He can outbox the boxers. So if there was ever a fight that I feel would actually bring out the full, pure boxing skills of Naoya Inoue, this might be the one because of Bam's footwork, his pivots, his strength, his punching power, his punch placement. It's a damn good fight. And all I need to know about this fight is, does Mr. Honda want it to happen? Because if that answer is yes, it's going to happen. And I'm gonna leave it right there. Those are my thoughts on Bam versus Inoue. My early preliminary thoughts about Bam versus Inoue, because I'm probably gonna clip this video and it'll come out as its own separate video when I go back and I edit all this. But let's address some comments because we do got some comments here. Shout out to everybody tuning in the afternoon. If you're at work, if you're at home, if you're just waking up, it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Be live later on, so make sure you guys join us for that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's work our way down these comments. Let me see. Hey Susem, shout out to him, long-time viewer. Got a lot of love from my brother. Hey Susem, he says, BT, let's not crown Bam Rodriguez just yet. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not crowning him. I'm just acknowledging what he's accomplished so far and the opportunities that he has presented to him. There's a lot of potential opponents for Bam. His career is just beginning. I can't crown him. His career is just beginning, so we'll see how it goes for him. He says, Saludos BT. You forgot Alan Garcia at 135 with Ashton Silva and Floyd Schofield. Yeah. Shout out to Alan Garcia. I don't know a ton about Alan Garcia. I know his nickname is Kid Kansas, and I know that he had a fight date on BLK Prime when they were trying to do that little Tuesday night fight series that never really got going. But yeah, I gotta do a video on Alan Garcia. Get him in the rotation. Dundada, what's good, champ? Good to see you. We got Dundada in the building. We got Enrique Luna. He says, Bam is doing more than your PBC crap. Gary Russell is a witness protection. Where's Leo Santa Cruz? Damn, Jamal Charlo got more time off than the president. Damn right. Listen, man, Jamal Charlo got more time off than a pregnant woman on maternity leave. Like, he's not even mentally fit to box, but this ain't about him right now. Mullers says, BT, you're the man to get the WBC to see the sense why we need better BF versus Bivol. Why do you say that, Muller? Why do you say on the? Please kindly explain in the chat. Why am I the man to do that? I'd like to know why. Did you by any chance did you by any chance watch my video on when I spoke to the WBA about Ian Green? Let me know in the chat. Inoue would hurt Bam Rodriguez for real. Well, listen, there's only one way to find out. And if Mr. Honda wants the fight to happen, it's gonna happen, because I kind of always knew he was like the Al Heyman of Japan, but like from the way it was broken down and explained to me from somebody who's Japanese, who fought in Japan, who's actually, been through the Japanese boxing system, that dude might even be more powerful than Al Heyman in Japan. It's crazy. BT, they said Bam rehydrated to 129. I believe it, because he's fought that high before, so it's very believable. Bam is not as small as you guys think. I saw Bam face to face at the Roman Gonzalez Julio Cesar Martinez fight when I interviewed him with Sean Tatel. He was wide and he had a lot of weight on him. I'm telling you. Mr. Honda doesn't like his fighters fighting each other. Why do you think Bam moves down to 112? Because Nakatani 115. Now Bam is going back to 115. Nakatani all of a sudden, yeah, that's how it goes. You're absolutely correct, Tyro. You're 1,000% correct. Mr. Honda has this weird thing about his fighters not fighting each other. Tekken Promotions fighters are a family. It's kind of to just use a really appropriate word. It's kind of gay, if you ask me. Just really, really gay. But that's just my opinion. Like I think these guys should be fighting each other. If guys are with the same promoter, all the more reason to fight each other, because you can make money together. What's more noble than making money with your fellow friends? And your fellow stablemates. That type of thing. But we're gonna switch gears, because as far as Bam is concerned,